marriage kind of grows. I mean, as far as the business aspect of it, like when it comes to money and stuff like that. When you said a lot of marriages break up for financial reasons, I feel like when you get with somebody, you kind of you establish what their financial situation is when you go into it. So I kind of feel like you um, kind of know what you're getting into when it comes to that financial aspect of things with the marriage thing. So I kind of that goes with what you said as far as getting into a relationship or a marriage with somebody and being able to grow with them on an aspect. Because I know on my financial side, I mean, I'm not the best in it, but I'm hoping in finding my husband, I find somebody that's willing to grow with me and build with me in that aspect, so that I can become better. Um, so, and like I said, I'm still learning a lot when it comes to marriage because I've never been married. So a lot of what you guys are giving today, I'm picking up, listening, and learning because a lot of people, the way their marriage goes, they have their own little contract and how they handle their marriages in their household.
I'm let you respond, TJ, and then we're gonna take a commercial break, pay some bills. Go ahead.
Okay, really quick. If people really understood what a covenant is, we wouldn't have so much business contract conversation. Okay, because
Well, break it down. Tell us what
we'll break it down. All right. First off, a covenant is for the benefit of the other person. I had a covenant in my home, which meant no matter what, this woman was going to be taken care of. Whatever I needed to do, I don't care if I had to sell weed. I don't care if I had to sell cars. I don't care if I had to do whatever it took. This woman was going to be taken care of, and I was going to make sure that she did not have to feel the burden of the outside world past that house. Okay. The next thing is that I made unconditional promises, meaning I don't care if you're sick. I don't care if you're not having sex with me. I don't care. I am going to be faithful. I'm going to be loyal, and I'm going to get up every day, and I'm going to make this happen. The next step is based on steadfast love, because when you deal with someone's steadfast love, it means you have quirks, Cassandra. You have quirks. And regardless of those quirks, I'm going to love you unconditionally, and I'm going to continue to try to help grow you.
We don't even really know what unconditional love is, though.
Oh, well, to an extent, unconditional
we say
love.
It, but we don't.
There's always conditions
we
to
still
unconditional
love conditionally.
love. You know what? I'll tell you what unconditional love is. Unconditional love is exactly what your mother and father would do for you.
They still love us conditionally too sometimes.
But it's still, the love doesn't stop. The love doesn't stop. What it is that the person will, you say you're doing wrong. You're selling drugs in the street. You know what I mean? And your mother then said, baby, please stop. Don't do that. You go to jail. Mama right there. That's unconditional love. And here's the other part of it, though. You could do that enough times where your mom's like, I'm going to take my hands off of you. I'm take my hands off of you. When you get it together, the door is open. You can come on home. That's unconditional love. That is unconditional love, that no matter what you do, no matter where you go, whatever in life, that doesn't mean I got to stay here and hurt myself with you, but the door is still open.
Make sure you turn to the mic.
Okay, the door is still open.
Thank you. Okay.
Then another thing is commitments are permanent with a covenant. Permanent. No matter what, I don't care.
So if he beating the hell out of you, is permanent?
I'm going to say this. Outside of abuse, and things of that nature.
Okay.
There's certain things there's some things you have to remove. Self-love is important too. Now,
if he cheat on you, she cheat on you, that's permanent.
You know what? I'll say this: I've had that situation, and I stayed as long as I could. Okay, I stayed as long as I could.
We gotta go to commercial. Okay. Sorry. Okay. We gotta take commercial. Right. We'll come right back.
All right.
You've been tuned in to Let's Go There with Cassandra, and we are going on commercial to pay some bills. We'll be right back, y'all.
Have you ever experienced the stress of dealing with a loved one during a disability or seen the chaos after the death of someone who's died? Well, Norton Estate Planning and Elder Law Firm specializes in helping guide families through such traumatic events. They're committed to helping individuals create a personalized estate plan that meets their expectations. The firm is comprised of individuals that believe in education, maintenance, and collaboration. They believe that estate planning should focus on providing you with a plan that reflects who you are, maximizes your control during life, protects you and your wishes in the event of a disability, and provides the instructions for carrying out your legacy at your death. If you're in need of wills, trust, power of attorney, guardianship assistance, Medicaid services, or probate administration, contact their office today at 317-572-8696 or visit their website at www.estateplanners.org. Norton Estate Planning and Elder Law Firm is committed to protecting your dignity and securing your legacy.
Oh, and you are now tuned back into Let's Go There with Cassandra. We are talking about marriages today, spiritual covenant or business contract part 2. And we only have an hour. We got like 30 minutes left, and we still got a load of questions that I want to get through that I think are very good to cover today. So we're going to move on to question number 2. And we kind of were talking about this off air. If religion didn't exist, would marriage be relevant? So if religion did not exist, religion is man-made's view on who God is, in my opinion. Would marriage still exist or be relevant? If religion didn't exist, would marriage be relevant? So Tori, go ahead, answer that question for me.
I think it would still be relevant because without you take God out of marriage, then you have pretty much what a lot of people are doing nowadays, and it's a competition to outdo the next person. I promise you, like, all you see is people's like, hey, this is what we doing. Check us out. I did this. We spent this much on so-and-so. Who can outdo us? You know, and that's what people do. And then 3 weeks later, they're divorced. It's all a show.
Okay.
Just to see who can do the next best thing.
Okay. Rick? Just got out of church.
I did.
If religion didn't exist,
but you know,
would marriage be relevant?
I respect
Bishop, elder,
Hey,
Deacon Gilliam.
I am too. But real talk though, marriage only really exists because of God. You know, that's where the concept came from. Even though it's been bastardized into this thing that we see every day, and while we see Hollywood couples be married for 3 days and then they divorced or whatnot, it's turned into a whole big cluster F. I'm censored myself this time. But it only exists because God, a guy that I know said this. I wrote it down because I didn't want to mess it up. You mentioned religion. He said, religion about God without a relationship with God makes one a dangerous person. And what we have today is a lot of people that speak on religious things, but they never had a spiritual walk with God to begin with. And so that's how you get these corrupt and twisted things that get taken out of context. And that's how I feel on this marriage thing. It's been taken out of context from what it was originally intended to be.
Okay.
And so everything has a source or a starting point.
I agree.
What it turns into after the fact, that's our fault.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what happened with marriage. There was a starting point with the example that God set at the beginning. And then it's developed. Somebody mentioned Jacob earlier. That wasn't God's original plan, though. Just because Jacob did it, a lot of people like to think because it's in the Bible, we're supposed to follow that. Let me clarify that statement. The Bible is a history book that tells a lot of stories, both good and bad stuff. Both good examples and the not so good examples. And if people really read it, it's better than any TV show you could watch today, because it's some wild stories in the Bible. Wild stuff. But people take that wild stuff, take it out of context and say, oh, well, the Bible said it. This is what we're supposed to do. No, the Bible's telling a story about a man's life that was just as jacked up as the rest of us. Jacob made some bad decisions. Noah made some bad decisions. Abraham made some bad decisions. David, Solomon, all these Bible characters, they all made some effed up decisions. God took some of that good stuff that they had, though, to use that for what he needed to use it for. That don't make what they was doing right, or everything that they was doing right. And I want to make sure folks are clear on that just because every Bible story we hear, that don't mean that example was what God was intending for us to learn from what he was trying to teach us.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I want to clarify, because when I did make that comment, I was just saying that it was a business contract,
Yeah.
not saying what, because for all of sin. So just wanted to make it clear that I wasn't trying to say that was an example of what we should do, or shouldn't do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Who knows?
No, that's good. So go ahead and answer the question.
Okay, I will. It's really hard for me to step out of the religion piece, but I'm going to step out and say, I think marriage would still be relevant because there's non-religious people who are married from a literal standpoint. And I also, it just feels like you said, like love is love kind of thing. Like people are still going to love. So I think people are naturally just attracted to people. And I think, well, there's a question about monogamy later on, maybe. Oh no, maybe there isn't. But I think that I think. Okay, well then I'll save that for later.
TJ.
Oh, it absolutely would exist. I mean, the thing about God is that we all you do not have to
Make
read
sure
the
you talk to
Bible.
the mic.
You do not have to read the Bible. You do not have to read the Quran. You do not have to follow anything else to understand what love is and to understand what truth is. Okay, and we innately have those things inside of us of right and wrong. So what ends up happening is that I meet a person and I want to be with them. That has nothing to do with religion. That has nothing to do with me wanting to be good to them. That has nothing to do with me wanting to take care of them, and nothing having to do with me wanting to have sex with them. Okay, that is inside all of us. That's in all the birds and the bees and everything else. It's inside everything that is alive and living on this earth. So, yeah, there would be marriages in people in their own covenants without having a word for it or whatever it is. You would know that they belong over there in that group, and a couple means one, actually. It's one pair of something, and there would be couples all over, just like anything else.
Okay. Nat.
I agree. I mean, if religion didn't exist, I mean, I believe marriage would still be relevant. I mean, I think that question is a prime example of what a lot of people are doing in today's world as far as marriages are going. They just kind of go with their own flow of things.
I think it definitely be relevant just because as humans, we all desire to be loved. So
Absolutely.
I think it would still be we would still be married regardless because we want to have that connection with one another and we want somebody to be in our corner and we want to have, a family in that particular. So I think it definitely would still be relevant.
Just a question. Will we be married or will we just be having sexual partnerships for companionship's sake? Because think about it, there was no governance or no rules.
Well, I mean, from the marriage standpoint, the government is the one who established what marriage is from a contractual standpoint.
Right.
So
but they got that from somewhere. So let's say if marriage didn't exist and there was no law on the book saying what you could do, say we get the same benefits, health insurance, life insurance benefits, all the stuff people say they get married for so they can do. If there was no, you know what I'm saying? If there was no marriage at all or no law, would we still feel like I can't just go hook up with this chick over here and do what I want to do?
I mean, that's
and
a hard question
I
to
still
answer.
get the same benefits. It's just like a dude that delay getting married. If she gonna give you the milk and cookies, I'm trying to censor
I think
myself.
that's a difficult question to answer. It just depends on what your spiritual foundation is and what you believe. If you personally feel like you don't have to get married from a legal standpoint, but still be married, then no. But if you feel like I can't have sex with somebody until I'm actually married to them, then for those Bible thumping hardcore religious folks, then yeah, it would still exist. But for those people who are just like, you know what, I don't necessarily buy into that, then probably not.
Yeah, it's a difficult hypothetical to look at because
it has to do with the transfer of money and responsibility.
Definitely.
And that's the reason why the dynamic from way back then to now has really changed because, there's a certain level of what you have to do to be in those relationships. You can't, you can, I mean, they do it now, want her and I want her and I want her. And
Right.
after so long,
And still married and still want her,
Right.
him.
absolutely,
You got a girlfriend, you got a wife, you got a boo thing.
Right.
absolutely.
Right. So, that it all has to do with money. And unfortunately, they went ahead because of money, the contract,
Right.
Because of the contract, I'm sorry. I guess I get getting kind of lazy and laid back. Because of the contract.